And welcome back to Cult Radio A Go-Go Live, and we are on the air with our next guest for the evening, the lovely and talented Miss Christine Nguyen. Welcome to the show, Christine. You're on the air live with Terry and Tiffany.
Hi, Tiffany. How's it going?
Pretty good.
Hey, Christine.
Thanks for having me on tonight. Hey.
This is Terry. How you doing?
I'm great, Terry. How are you?
Pretty good, pretty good. I got to find out, first of all, how the contest turned out.
The contest turned out good. I'm a finalist.
Really?
So I'm in the finals, for this set of finals. So the finals are going to be either in Los Angeles or Las Vegas. They haven't figured out yet. So I have to say thank you to everybody who took the time out to go to the website and vote for me.
So, is a situation they can still vote, did you say, or?
They can still vote. It's a different round now. There's I can't remember how many rounds there are, but they're going to pick all the finalists from all the rounds, and that's going to be like Miss. She's basically the one for the year. So I made it for my round.
Fantastic. Well, I got a feeling you're going to get a whole lot of Fred Olin Ray fans voting for you.
I hope so.
So we wanted to start out by asking you how you got involved in the industry and working in independent and B cinema.
Let's see, how did I get involved? It started out, it's a funny story actually. I was in law school in Houston, and I got a call out of the blue from a Playboy producer who wanted to fly me out to be on Playboy TV and do a photo shoot. And I thought this was funny because at that point I'd done some modeling in college, but nothing much. Mm-hmm. And I definitely didn't have any nude pictures out there, not that I knew of.
Right.
But they said that they had some pictures of me. They saw some pictures of me, and I don't know how they found my number out, and I never really tried to find out.
Right.
And that's how it all started.
Fabulous. So you had done some initial modeling and then just got this call out of the blue from Playboy. Did you ever worry about going and doing a spread in Playboy, which obviously is going to get you a lot of attention, maybe friends or family seeing it, things like that?
You know what? At that point, not really. I really wasn't thinking that far ahead. I just thought, wow, this is really cool. I mean, if it's true, and it turned out to be true. I really never thought that far ahead because honestly, my family in Texas is very conservative, and I don't think they've ever opened a Playboy, so I don't think that they would ever, run across one and see me in it if I was in it. So, little do I know.
That's what I was thinking.
Everyone reads Playboy.
The entire, Vietnamese culture is pretty conservative, too, aren't they?
It is very conservative. I mean, it's different now that, there are more Vietnamese over here, and I think a lot of parents have been through so much, that they become very Americanized. But I was born in Vietnam, and I came here with my parents, so we were not that Americanized to start off with.
Well, my brother was over in the Vietnam War, and he told me how beautiful the ladies were, and I didn't believe him. Now I do. Now I do. Definitely do.
I hear that a lot. I think that's such a great thing. Such a nice compliment.
There you go. So, the first time that you ever posed nude, I mean, it's just a classic stock question. I mean, were you nervous?
Honestly, I wasn't. I think I've always been in love with the camera or being in front of it. Because my parents were the quintessential parents that always had some kind of, handy cam going for birthdays. And I was always the one that was, told to get in front of the camera, sing, dance, do something, entertain us. And so, honestly, I think that growing up like that, it just was natural for me. And then being naked, I have a lot of family in France. I spent a lot of time there. Mm-hmm. And in Europe, it's just different. You grow up, really enjoying your body and not being ashamed of it. And so I never really thought that it was anything shameful. And I think that really the body is a beautiful thing. If you take care of it, it's even more beautiful. And, from people, if they look at a body and start thinking, oh, this is terrible, this is shameful, well, I think it's more kind of what they're thinking in their head that's shameful, not so much of what they're seeing as shameful.
Right.
Well, it's really great because you're really kind of the last of the breed. God, I remember the 80s, and they coined this term called Scream Queen, and it kind of died out. And unfortunately, a lot of the actresses they use now are porn stars, and you're not really a porn star. You're a Scream Queen in my book. Would you agree with that?
I love that, and thank you so much, Terry, for saying that. Yeah, no, a lot of people with what I see on Google is that they always call me a porn star, and I'm not, because I don't. Well, what I do, people say is soft core.
Right.
Soft porn. I just think of it as erotic comedies, and most of them are comedies. I think, to me, there's a fine line between porn and what I do. Porn is actually having sex.
Right.
That's what I think of as porn. What I do is just acting. there's a lot more lovemaking in the acting, but it's not anything different than Halle Berry and what she did in Monster, you know, which she got an Academy Award for.
Right.
Of course, I'm not going to say I'm not on her caliber. I'm definitely not. But it's the same thing. It's just acting.
So it really is acting, too, in the point that we actually spent a week on a porn set, and they did an X-rated version and a softcore version. And when they do a softcore version, it's acting. They're not really doing it like they have different ways and hiding things and this and that. And that's the way it is with you, right? I mean, nothing really goes on. No,
nothing is on. And, you know, you really have to know how to make it look real. Because it's not, but you have to make everything seem really real. And what the great thing is when people really say to me, they come up, they're like, "Oh, you have to be really doing it. There's no way you can be acting." That makes me feel good because I'm like, no, ask anybody I'm with at the point, she's acting, or else they'd be out the door.
Now that brings up another good question, Christine, because we actually interviewed Fred Olin Ray. He's a good friend. And
I love Fred. He's so great.
Yeah, he's awesome. And he had told us that nowadays, a lot of times they have to resort to actually getting real porn stars from the adult industry to kind of fill in roles in some of these films that he does with actors like yourself.
Because there's not enough Christines.
There's not enough Christines.
I know. There's so many people who are uninhibited. And, well, you know what? I can understand. He has a dilemma to go through. A lot of commercial actresses, they won't do this because sometimes it does, like, keep you from doing mainstream things.
Right.
And it can hurt you because not everybody has an open, liberal mind. And see sex as something beautiful. Not like having sex, but just, like, watching it, you know?
Right.
But, yeah, honestly, most of the time on the set, I'm probably the only person who's not a porn star.
Have you ever had any kind of problems with any of the porn stars? Anybody ever come on to you or try to get a little bit too touchy-feely for the scene?
You know, not on one of Fred's sets. I've done another show where, yeah, the guy, I don't know if he was a porn star or not, but the fact was he was drunk during the scene. And so I don't think he was a porn star. He might have been, but just the fact that he was drunk, he got really gropey. And that, you know, there's always very set boundaries on these sets, especially because they're not porn sets, and so you can't do a lot of the stuff.
Right.
I think it's also, like, I don't know, legal things.
Right.
But, yeah, he was getting way too much, and he crossed that boundary, and everyone was really great. All you have to say is stop, that's it, and he was out.
So, in other words, you would never be so much into a scene that if he put something where it shouldn't be, I mean, you would literally stop a scene and be like, hey, what the fuck's going on here, right?
Oh, yeah, no, like, you know, I'm a liberal, and I'm like, you know, I can tell when someone's coming on to me, and I'll laugh about it, and, like, you know, you slap their hand or whatever. But I could tell this guy was just off his rocker, and he wasn't listening. I just had to. You have to respect yourself enough, too. You have to say, stop, I'm not comfortable doing something when you're not comfortable.
There you go, there you go.
Yeah.
So do you think coming from Vietnam helps you get a lot of different roles? Like, for instance, it was strange. I made an ass out of myself because Don Glut's a really good friend of mine, as Fred is. And when he showed me the DVD cover to Mummy's Kiss, I was like, oh, you got an Egyptian girl. I didn't realize that you were Vietnamese. Do you get a lot of roles like that because, you know, you're Vietnamese? I mean, does it help you get other ethnic roles, too, or...?
I do. Well, you know, I think Vietnamese, I wouldn't say it helps me get roles, because still the majority of roles after are for, you know, a typical American-looking person, or even more so like Hispanic or Latina. But I think I'm lucky enough to where I'm not like I look ambiguous, but I can go all sorts of different ways. I can go like, you know, Asian American. Sometimes I can even go Latin, some people have said. So I think looking exotic really helps, yeah. You know, standing out in the crowd, looking a little bit different.
So let me go ahead and put you on the spot, Christine. Compare and contrast. Both of these men are our friends, but compare and contrast working with Fred Olin Ray and Don F. Glut. Who did you enjoy working for more?
Okay, so they're both totally two opposite ends of the spectrum. And I have to say, I guess, let me make it easy on myself. I love working with Fred just because he hires me more. I've only done one film for Don. He's already called me once. And Fred, I have done now, like, I don't know, 10 films with Fred. So I'm taking the easy way out, guys. Right. It's a financial reason.
Well, I'm not saying he's not professional, but you got to be careful about old Don because he's the man, you know.
I love Don, though. And you know what? Don is the one that really got me my start in all these kind of movies. Because the very first film I did, Actually, it wasn't the first. Oh, I'd done some stuff like, for Cinemax, straight through different companies.
Mm-hmm.
But the first ever movie that I did of this type, the erotic thriller, was through Dawn, this Mummy's Kiss, Second Dynasty. So there's always a special place in my heart for him. And plus he keeps in touch, and I see him every now and then.
Now,
he's a good friend.
Do you prefer doing kind of the comedy type films that you talked about, or do you enjoy doing the horror type stuff as well?
Comedy comes naturally to me, and I enjoy it. But really, like right now, at this point in my life, I'm looking for more drama, to like expand myself and like challenge myself in those roles.
Well, I know from knowing Fred that he's an American Internationals fan, and you're too young to know what that was. That was my day to drive it. But one of the films he loved was Ghost in an Invisible Bikini, and he got to do Ghost in a Teeny Bikini with you.
Teeny Bikini, oh my God, and that was the first film I ever done with him, and aside from Super Ninja Doll, that's my favorite. That was so much fun.
And you got to sing.
Oh, Lord, okay, well, that wasn't fun. that wasn't fun. And boy, did I think I was a singer until I got put on microphone. Then I realized I do not know how to sing. And he wouldn't let me get out of it. He still made me sing.
Well, everybody on the board said you were very Annette Funicello-like, even though Annette wasn't in that film that he was parodying there.
I think I'm going to have to go watch the film you're talking about then because, she had to have done better than me. I was so embarrassed. But what can you do?
So what about the fact that, like, many women are directing now? I mean, would you like to eventually get into doing your own stuff?
Gosh, everyone's always asked me about that, and I guess the smart thing would be to say yes, because that's how you stay in this entertainment business.
Right.
But honestly, I like being in front of the camera. I don't want all the headaches of being behind the camera, and I really see what all they have to go through. Mm-hmm. If I were to do anything, I would do styling. I love clothes. I would do wardrobe if I had to stay in the business but do something else.
Perfect. Now, you mentioned that you're wanting to move into doing drama, and I actually saw a quote on the internet, I believe it was on your website, that said that one of your goals is to someday be able to star in an episodic series. Do you worry about being typecast and kind of like the B-movie, cutesy, adult-themed type of stuff, that will hold you back from going into mainstream drama films?
It already has in a little bit of a way because I'm just so known as like a nude model or like, a sexy this or a sexy that. And it does hurt, but I think all you can do is get out there and keep on trying, and take on as many different roles as you can and change people's perception of you. And recently I've become a little bit more picky on the roles that I'm taking and doing. And so I'm not doing as much nude work. So
I can imagine
trying to head in a different direction.
Right. I can imagine there's days that you get up, you have a shoot, and you have to be bubbly, or a lot of times they make you act like an airhead, which you definitely are not. And you have to be all pretty, and you have to be all naked, and you feel like shit because you partied the night before. So how do you go
That's
to a set?
That's what makeup artists are for. That's a really good friend girl makeup artists are for.
Yeah, but they can't put your mindset to where it's supposed to be. How do you get your mindset to being fun and bubbly when you feel like shit?
I think because deep inside, the real person I am is fun and bubbly, so it's easier to draw on it because that's just the way I am. But when I feel like shit, my mom always taught me, don't take your personal problems to work.
There you go.
So whether you're in an office or you're on set, so what if your boyfriend just broke up with you, and so what about this? You're on set and they're paying you to be what they pay you to be, not you for the day. So I always think about that. That's my work ethic.
Now, we actually have a chat room that's going on during our live radio show, so people can kind of pop in and make comments and ask questions of our guests. And a lot of our...
and I do want to apologize really quickly for last time. I know that we were scheduled to do an interview, and wires got crossed, and I had some personal problems going on, so I want to apologize for everybody that tuned in, and I wasn't able to make it that time. But I'm glad you guys listened this time.
Yes, absolutely. But one of our listeners, actually a couple of our listeners, are mentioning Super Ninja Doll, which you said was one of your favorites. Can you tell us about that film and what your role in it was and what it was like working on it?
Most definitely. Super Ninja Doll was, it was kind of an anime action flick that I did with Fred. It was a bikini movie, and it was about a college student, a schoolgirl, that loves reading comic books. And she loves them so much that there's a huge storm happens, and she gets sucked into the character in the comic book, and the character of the comic book comes out and becomes her. And so I got to play 2 roles in one, which was so awesome and something I think every actor wants to do in one movie. And it was a lot of fun. There was fighting in the scene. I got to play 2 characters. Sometimes I was on screen with myself, which is so cool. And basically I became the character and I saved the world.
So you know any martial arts of any kind, or for real?
Good God, no.
Really?
No. And okay, and this is the thing, it's like you always want to be like a triple threat in Hollywood. You want to sing, you want to dance, you want to act, but nowadays, because of Angelina Jolie and all those great girls who know all these, combat moves, you got to know how to fight. And I told myself, like a couple of months ago, I'm like, I'm going to take some martial arts and stuff. I went by a couple classes just to sit down on them, and I was like, hell no. It looked like, because I asked the people, I was like, you get bruised, right? And they're like, well, at first you do, yeah, but your body gets used to it. And I'm like, oh, no, can't do that.
Yeah, you don't want the pain, definitely. So you got some stuff coming out I saw on Fred's board that I don't believe has been released yet, something about Bikini Frankenstein and Twilight Vamps.
Oh, yeah, Bikini Frankenstein Twilight Vamps is out already.
Okay. What are they about?
Okay, Twilight Vamps is basically about a guy that goes to a strip club, but the strip club is run by all vampires. And, of course, him and his buddy get in trouble at the strip club. The vampires come after them, but they kill us, unfortunately.
Oh.
And the day prevails. And then Bikini Frankenstein was great. It's basically the Frankenstein story, but the Frankenstein is actually really beautiful, really tall, and has sex with everybody in the film. But she blows up in the end, too. So these are the only 2 films I have to say where the guys rule the day. The guys come out the winner in the end. I mean, most guys in Fred's films come out winners, depending on what way you look at it. But in these films, it was more centered about the guys.
See, Fred should let you direct, and that way you can make all the guys wear the bikinis.
Oh, I don't know. I'd make the guys wear nothing. I have to walk around with nothing all the time. Why not them?
Yeah, I don't even know why they even bother with the bikini, because they don't stay on very long. I mean, what's
No, they don't. But it's the thought. Isn't it that moment? It's kind of like when the card just flips over, when the last string comes undone, you're like, there it is.
Now, you've even worked on a video game, right?
I did. I just finished up a video game called Front Mission Evolved. And in it, I play the character of Amy. She's this whiny little girl, but she's the brains of the whole operation. She's the brains of these warships that she helps to program. And it's called Front Mission Evolved. And if you play the game, I'm Amy. And it's my body movements, too, because I do all the motion capture work for it.
Now, I heard something about there's going to be another Porky's film that you got to...
There is, and I did it already, and it's already out. It was called Porky's... to the college years, but they changed the name, and it's now called Pimpin' Pee-wee. Oh. If you have to go find it on DVD, it's called Pimpin' Pee-wee. And it's actually pretty funny. It's much more comedic in my sex scene, and it's not very... It's sexy, but not to the point of Fred Olin Ray sexy, or Cinemax sexy. It's just kind of like National Lampoon kind of sex.
Do they have the original cast, or...?
No, I think there were some cameos from the original... I don't remember the original that well, and on my set days, I didn't really know anyone from the old set. But it's the same storyline, The guys go back to Porky's, and they get in trouble, and they take it home.
Because I know they had one guy in the original, and his name was Meat for a particular reason. And...
His name was Meat?
Yes. And
well, there's a Meat in mine, too, but I don't think it's the original guy, because the actor I worked with was, 22. Yeah, but I play Meat's girl in the film. So when you look at the credits, I'm Meat's girl. So if you watch the film, I'm in the scene with Meat.
Now, you also worked for another director who was very famous for being a child actor, and that was Fred Savage in the Wonder Years.
Yes! Oh, my gosh. And that was such an amazing time meeting him. And I have to say, if it wasn't for just, age, he looks just like Fred Savage from the Wonder Years. You kind of have to, keep your mouth from dropping open, because that was one of my favorite films when I was growing up.
I don't think with the beautiful Christine standing in front of him, he'd probably act like he did when he was a kid, though. It's probably like, woo!
You know what, though? They had such great manners on that film. It's always different.
Well, that's good. So, what was the worst experience you ever had on a set other than this guy that you said one time was really pawny? Was that it, or was there one that was other than that?
No. Let me think. Gosh, I really have been lucky. I've never had a bad dance set except when I'm not remembering my lines and I'm under the hot seat. But no, I think that was the only time I've had. Oh, well, I'll tell you about a shoot I had a couple months ago. That was a terrible day.
Okay.
I guess, I mean, everyone has their ups and downs as far as weight goes, you know, but I had a photo shoot, and it was for a new, for Wild Turkey, they have a new, I guess it's a bourbon, whiskey, something like that. Mm-hmm. They have a new, like, liquor coming out for their company, and so I was picked to be in the calendar for it, and the photographer spent 9 hours calling me fat. What? It was, like, the worst day of my life. Yeah.
You're kidding.
You know, I was going through some bloaty period, I guess, because 2 days after that, I did the shoot for the one contest. And as everybody can tell that, you know, clicked on the one contest, I'm not fat.
Oh, my God.
What dimension?
It was,
okay, I don't even understand that.
It was so crazy. Well, I was like, they had me in this position where, you know, I'm not like 5'11", you know. So I'm petite, and so I have to, you know, I know how to move myself for good camera angles. Mm-hmm. And this day, first of all, I was feeling bloated, not feeling that well, and then they had me all scrunched up and squeezed, and I'm like, well, I should stretch myself. I don't feel like this is a good position for me. But, you know, the people, like, when you do a big shoot like that, a print shoot, they have everybody come in. They had the advertising executives come in, someone to represent the company that they're advertising for come in. So it's a lot of chiefs, and, like, no one would listen to me like I know my body, and they wouldn't let me move the way I wanted to. And so I was in this position where it kind of made me look like I had rolls, but it's like, you know, it's anyone, like, scrunched up like that looks like they have rolls. But what was mortifying is, like, you know, send it to me in private, tell me, hey, what's wrong, what's going on.
Right.
The photographer yells out, what the hell happened? I saw you 2 days ago, and I was shooting the hell out of you then. What could have happened in 2 days? Can you imagine? Like, and this is like a full set with like probably 20 people, and plus other models. I mean, my face was burning that day. So I have to say that was one of the worst days of my life in the last 10 years.
Well, I'm sorry for that. You know, you're bringing me to the question that there's two kinds of worlds in Hollywood, okay, that you're lucky enough to be in the B-movie world, but then there's this world that's kind of the more corporate world where, you know, I guess there's more money and stuff, but you feel that you get less respect in that world than you do the working for Fred Ray or whatever?
You know, it's not less respect. I've worked on huge projects before. I just think, honestly, that photographer was an asshole. You know?
There you go.
You'll probably have to beat me out. I don't know, like, have you censor me, but he was not a nice person. And, you know, in my head, I was like, just send me home. Right. I would rather someone send me home than humiliate me in front of everybody.
Well, we've got several people in the chat rooms volunteering to kick his ass if you'd like to.
I love you all for it, and, you know, I hope he's not listening either. Because I know him well, and we used to be friends, so we're probably not friends anymore.
I mean, the man's crazy. He doesn't know that you're Tarzina, Jiggle in the Jungle.
Oh, actually, no. And if he did, he probably would have held his tongue.
So what was it like doing that
film? Know who I am.
What was it like doing the Tarzina film? I mean, everybody loves that.
That was so, you know, everybody loves that film, and everyone loves the waterfall scene. I guess, like, I was watching it too fast. I skipped over the waterfall scene. I just don't like to watch myself caressing myself that much. But that was a fun film to work on, just because, you know, you got to have fun when you're in a loincloth.
Right.
And you're running barefoot with this huge gorilla next to you. And that was fun working with the gorilla, too, because really it was so real. It felt so real.
Wow. Now, do you ever go to fan events and meet your fans and things like that? Any kind of these maybe horror or science fiction type of conventions?
You know, I haven't yet, but I'd like to one of these days when my schedule, like, you know, fits with it. I would love to. I think I would love to go to Comic-Con one day. I was hoping that Super Ninja Doll would hit it off big and we could all head down to Comic-Con.
Yeah.
I heard it's crazy.
Oh, yeah. I'm sure all of your fans would love it. How can fans actually get in touch with you? What if they want to get an autograph or they want to buy something Christine? Where would they go?
Or if they'd like to buy Christine, which you're not for sale.
Well. Well, let's see here. I have my own page now. They can get in touch with me just through all the social networking sites like Twitter. Mine is Twitter /NChristeen, but I spell it differently. I spell it NCRYSTEAN. Looks like N. Christine. Mm-hmm. They can also get in touch with me on my MySpace or my Facebook. My MySpace is myspace.com/Christine, CRYSTEAN. And then my Facebook is facebook.com/1Christine Nguyen.
As we kind of close things out here, I had read a quote, I believe, again, it was on your website, that had stated that you had gotten into the industry and you wanted to basically get into modeling and things like that because you used to see your mom's old fashion magazines. So for some of the younger girls, maybe teenage girls who have seen some of your modeling pictures and you're kind of their current inspiration, what advice would you have for them?
My advice would be always take care of yourself from the inside, because everything in the inside comes out, and that's just not what you eat, but also how you feel and the people that you hang around with, you know. I think the biggest thing for me growing up and why I'm so lucky with the way I look and the way I act and the people that want to work with me is because I grew up in a really healthy environment. I ate well, didn't party too hard, partied a little bit, but everything in moderation, and just be happy with yourself. When anyone says you can't do something, you can do it.
And there's a lot more to Christine than just the bikini or whatever. Like, for instance, on the Fred board, they were really happy that you were posting there recently. And they said that, you know, they really like your stuff and they really like your movies and that, but they don't really know too much about you. How would you explain to people what the real you is like, other than the fact that you said you're bubbly and fun? I mean, you know, what would you say to them? How can people...
The real me. The real me is very... Honestly, in real life, I'm bubbly and fun, but I'm kind of shy when you first meet me. I won't be the first person to come up to you and extend my hand and be like, oh, my God, you know. I'm kind of shy until I get to know you or until I've had a couple drinks in me.
Aren't we all?
And that's always the case, yeah. But I'm a really loyal person. I'm real close to my really close friends and my family. I don't know, how else would you describe me? I'm just a really good friend, good person, and I'm real low-key. I'm not very outside of I think my work is exhibitionist enough.
Right.
I'm very low-key in real life. Like today, I'm so happy. I set my alarm on my clock, too. I spent the day at the beach, and then we're shopping. You know, when you first called, I actually ducked inside a restaurant to the bar. I thought, oh, I'll have a glass of red wine and do the interview.
Right.
But it was too loud, so I'm sitting outside right now at the beach. Talking to you guys.
All right, and before we go, what are the next projects that we can await to see you in?
Well, I do have Bikini Jones coming out, and that's take off on, of course, Indiana Jones. And I think it's actually playing right now. And that is one of my favorite films yet, just to portray that character and so adventurous. What else do I have coming up? I have that. Oh, look for me on True Blood. I can't tell you which episode and what exactly it's about because we have to sign all these confidentiality agreements. Right. They're very crazy about that. But look for me in a scene with Bill. All you True Blood fans out there, Bill's the main vampire. And you can't miss me because, of course, you'll see more of me than you usually do.
Well, let me tell you, I appreciate you being on, and I'm glad we finally got you here. And
most definitely, thank you.
I'll give you the greatest compliment that I've ever given an actress that's kind of in your genre, and that is you're one of the few Fred Olen Ray actresses that I actually watch rather than just sit there and masturbate.
But I do still turn you on, though, right?
Oh, absolutely. In fact, right now. Okay.
Well, thank you so much. I appreciate the compliment.
All right, Christine, thank you so much for being on the show, and keep in touch with any of your future projects. Keep us abreast of what's going on.
Will do. Thanks, everybody, for listening in tonight.
All right, thank you. You have a nice night at the beach.
Great. You too. Take care.
Bye-bye.
Bye.